Hi.
Hi, everybody. We have a very interesting topic to talk about. I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with, and that is purpose, right? How to lead a purposeful life or a meaningful life, as we say, right?
And it's a pretty age-old, overarching question of like, what is your purpose in life? And I think that a lot of people are chasing that and trying to, or assume that upon finding their purpose in life and fulfilling it, then they will be happy. They will have gone through life successfully.
There are a lot of misconceptions about what is purpose and how we find purpose and what we mean by purpose. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that purpose is like a destination. It's something that we have to figure out, have something we have to find. Where are we meant to go? What is our goal? Where? I don't know if I'm expressing it correctly. Maybe you want to add to that. But
something that I'm sorry if I interrupted
No,
you.
it's
something
okay.
that I find a little distasteful or disheartening about the word purpose and the way it's used, generally speaking, today, is it insinuates that people are supposed to have some kind of use. Because if you were to use the word purpose, like what is the purpose of this pen, its purpose is that it writes. It has a use that it fulfills. Or like, what is the purpose? We're sitting under an umbrella. Of the umbrella, it casts a shade. It has a use. So saying, what is my purpose, is as though I have to justify why I'm alive. I have a use. I'm useful in this time frame of existing. And I think that that's a little disheartening. I don't want to be just a tool.
You see, as we were talking in our last podcast, again, we think of purpose as everything else, as something that is outside us.
Right.
Because the way you are defining use is you being
an external
energy for something else, somebody else can, and so on. Of course, there is part. I mean, in our lives we do give, right? We do offer, but that's not the case with purpose. And if we take this use as you defined it right now, first of all, it's our purpose.
Right.
So it's something that needs to reflect to us. It needs to come back to us. And then when we say use, as you said, the umbrella has a use or a purpose, what do you actually mean? When we talk of something have a function, okay? And what does that mean?
An ability to do something.
An ability, or it serves a purpose.
Yeah.
And what is the purpose of the umbrella?
A positive outcome of sorts.
Yeah, it covers a need.
Yeah.
Right? It covers a need. So, okay, we have company. A nice pigeon. So, use, something of use, is something that has a function, meaning it has a purpose, meaning it fulfills a need. So, whenever we talk of purpose, in any within any circumstance and in relation to anything, what is its purpose? We mean what is its function? What does it address? What need does it cover? For me, for somebody else. So the umbrella provides shade, for example, right? The phones here are communication. Now, because it is our purpose, so it's our needs, okay? Now, there are two basic things when we think of purpose and how we should go about defining it, understanding it, so we can experience it and act on it on an everyday basis. We make decisions all the time. We take action. We surround ourselves with people that we want to have around us and things that we like having around us. Now, there's a purpose behind all of these. We make the decisions, we take action to fulfill a specific need. We have people around us because we like them. Why do we like them? Again, because we cover a need. The things that we have around us. Is it comfort? That's a need. Is it Security, that's another need. So the purpose of my actions, my decisions, and everything I have around me is to cover my needs. That is in terms of what purpose is. And in order to find that, we have to ask. So when you make a decision, you ask yourself, what is the purpose behind my decision? What is it that I want to cover? I know sometimes we say, what is it that I want to achieve? But I don't like the word achieve. Because in essence, what we're trying to do is cover our needs. Always you try to cover our needs. So the fundamental thing about purpose is covering our needs. It's the reason why we do whatever we do, to cover our needs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Is that?
So, I'm curious if you can somehow not distill it, but organize what you just said, because you started by saying that there are two things that purpose is about.
Yeah.
The first is
the reasons behind everything we do. That's the first thing.
okay,
And I'll get to the second.
Oh, you haven't
I
gotten.
haven't gotten the second thing.
And these two components have to do with defining what purpose is, or how we should approach purpose.
It's understanding what purpose is. Okay, we have to understand that we have to know why we do whatever we do, why we make the choices we make. What is it that we are looking for in covering our needs? That is a fundamental question to everything you do, and especially purpose. Because purpose means reason. The reason for this being here, the reason for this being here is that I want to drink my coffee. The reason why my cup is the way it is, it's because I like handmade things. So this is handmade things. The reason I have this particular cup constantly with me is because my daughter gave it to me as a present. So, so there are so many reasons behind the things we do. It's why we do them. And it's very important that we learn to make the right questions so we get the right answers, because the right answers is the second part that relates to purpose. Okay, so one is to make the question
of what is my need,
of what is the reason why. Like I said,
do I want to do this?
For example, like I said before, why do I have this particular cup here? What need does I have my coffee? But why this also? You can make multiple questions. Like I did before, I like handcrafted things. And why do I have this particular cup constantly with me? Because I'm attached to it, it has an emotional value. So you need to understand and make the questions that allow you to understand the reasons of your actions, your decisions, and of the things that you have on your choices, in terms of everything that shapes your life, your job, your friends, your partner, everything. The things that you look forward to, the goals you set, anything. You look for the reasons behind your choices, okay? Because they reveal your needs. And that is the answer that you are looking for. So when you make the question, what you are looking for is you ask until you identify the importance, right, of your choices. Why it is the way it is, why you chose it, and why is that significant for me. So you understand your needs. Unfortunately, the problem is, first, we don't ask. We take things for granted. This is a cup. This is my friend. I'm with George. He's a friend. This is a friend, an actual friend. I have known him for 35 years, and we are still friends. Yeah, but why do I choose to still be friends with George? There are reasons, okay, that define what I look for in a friend or in a friendly relationship. unfortunately, what happens is first, we don't ask for the reasons. They're not top of mind. We don't examine our actions or our decisions. We have a hard time making decisions, but we don't go the process of looking what's behind them. And the other thing is that we make a lot of choices on the basis of expectations, on the basis of roles we have to fulfill. You know, I have to be a mother, and therefore I need to have this and this and this because I'm a mother, not because I'm Elizabeth. And as Elizabeth, yes, I'm a mother, but also I need this and this and this. So it's the role that comes on top of who I am and defines my needs without me questioning them. Or there are many assumptions, you know, a lot of things we take for granted as if they are self-evident truths, and they're not. So it's very difficult if we function within that frame of mind to identify our needs, right? Okay. The problem being that if you don't identify your needs, you will never
know what to do.
Understand your purpose, because your purpose is to find the reasons of why you are the way you are and why you have the things you have in shaping your life.
This sounds, however, that there's an element of retrospect, as though you need to have taken actions and then reflected on why you did that. Did it fulfill a need? And then you define, and I suppose redefine your purpose.
Exactly. You brought up a very important factor. Purpose is not something that is fixed. It's not something like, as you said at the beginning, that I find it and then my whole life is defined by it. So I find what my purpose is, and then I know the rest of my life I dedicate it to this purpose. No, it's not. You find purpose every day with everything you do. And as you evolve, so does your purpose, because this is, as you said, a learning process. Because I do something, there is an outcome. I learn from the result of my actions and my choices. I learn something. And what do I learn? I learn something about myself, which is, did that really cover my need? Did it come close? No. So you understand how to behave, but also what your needs are better through action. So you think, you understand, you act, you come back, you refine, you go again, you learn, you come back. And what does that mean? As you evolve as an individual, your purpose changes because your needs change. So the reasons why your life is shaped the way it is changes. And that's very important.
It's not about finding some long-term, large existential purpose that defines and drives your entire life, but it's a more immediate, daily, singular, little purposes.
What is it bigger? What can be anything bigger as a drive than your needs?
Well, what I mean by that is because there's the expectation, anticipation that one has to orient themselves and their major life decisions, so to speak. They need to have set what is your purpose in life is usually the phrase. It's not what is your purpose today, what is your purpose in this event that you're going to, what is your purpose in the choice that you're making for the afternoon.
You might actually, in some of these cases that you just described, we say, what's the purpose of me going to this event? Or what's the purpose of me going out? Or what's the purpose of me doing this? We do, but not fully aware of what we're talking about and what we're looking for. It's just a way of...
Because I think more immediately when someone were to hear the phrase purpose, especially in well-being, they gravitate to a larger scale purpose of life. But we're saying to kind of ground it even more into more singular, repetitive, retrospective, active.
Yes, I understand. It's like as if there is a need for us to have a script as soon as possible
Mhm.
of the way our life will unfold, because
Mhm.
that's what it means.
Yeah.
If I am to know my purpose in life when I am 20 or 30, right?
Or like 13, because they
Or like
ask you, what do
13,
you want to
because,
be when you grow up?
yeah, as if you would know what you want to be at 13, which I find this ridiculous. It's like you have a script.
Mm.
But even authors, when they write books, how do they develop their characters? By unfolding who they are as characters through the plot of a story and the way they act within the story, how they deal with elements and situations that come up. Because we evolve.
Mm.
I mean, that's the beauty of life,
Mm.
living it.
Mm-hmm.
And living life means that you develop, you unfold as a personality as you go along.
Mm.
And the more you understand who you are and why you do and why you have the life you have, because that's what it is, what's the benefit of that?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to give direction to your life.
Mm-hmm.
And this is purpose. Being able to give purpose to your life is being able to give it a direction,
Mm-hmm.
your direction, not somebody else's direction, right?
So if step one or part one was asking what is the reason behind your actions so as to reveal your needs, what is part two?
The part two is learning to make those choices that fulfill your needs.
So learning from your experience.
Yes, you learn from your experiences. You think through, because as I said, it's understanding, and you have to look for the reasons. When you're making a decision, you think of why do you want to make this decision? And once you move on into action, you see whether your action that followed your decision was successful or unsuccessful in meeting your needs.
Mm-hmm.
So in this learning, what happens is you gain a better understanding of who you are, basically, by understanding your needs, and therefore you give purpose to your life, meaning you give direction to your life, meaning you know the reasons why your life is the way it is. Knowing the reasons means that you can actually affect its course. It's your life.
Mm.
And that's how you give it purpose. It's purpose because, again, and we've talked about this again, and I think maybe we should make a whole podcast about it. We objectify everything. Again, purpose is an object, it's something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an object, it's not something that I have to find somewhere like a treasure and, I don't know, understand what it is and have it next to me and it will be my guiding light. No, you live in purpose. So your life is purposeful, it has meaning, it has a direction. That's what it means to have purpose.
Can I ask a more technical question?
Yeah.
Referring back to what is the reason behind your actions and recognizing your needs, I think some people might struggle to be able to actually detect what is their need. Would you have any advice on how to think about that?
I think it's very easy if you talk about your feelings, because the way we experience our needs is more in terms of our feelings, how we feel. So, for example, if you decide to go out to a specific event with a specific purpose in your head, and you have a bad time, let's say, you see, I use the word bad, which is a feeling. It's not bad in terms immoral or whatever. It's how I felt. So one way of understanding our needs is through our feelings. That's why feelings are so important. And we need to express them and we need to talk about them, but not just for the sake of talking, for the sake of expressing them and listening to what they have to tell us about our needs.
So in the beginning, it's even as simple as just noticing what felt good.
Yeah, what felt good.
And then thinking about why.
Yeah.
And
you know how
the
you
need.
can test whether, because sometimes feeling good is just a
Sensational.
Yeah, just very pleasure oriented and not deep, long lasting. And the way you test that, whether it's just pleasure or true satisfaction, happiness, you can test it if you do the same thing in a slightly different occasion, and you see if you have the same feeling, whether it was circumstantial,
Right.
it was
By
something that was
chance.
short-lived, by chance, something was there that by chance did it. And as you distill, because understanding is distilling things, you start from the surface and then you ask again and again and again
Why? You ask
and
why?
again, always why and why and why and why. This is part of reasoning. This is so Aristotelian. I mean, it can't be more Aristotelian than this. Reasoning is finding the reasons why things happen. And the reason is the purpose. Why something is the way it is. I know that a lot of people are just make a parenthesis just to clarify something. A lot of people confuse goals with purpose.
Yes.
Right? A lot of things say, and that's the worst possible thing you can do, because you can miss a lot out of your life if you mix goal with purpose. We set goals with specific purposes in mind. If you just set a goal, and usually the goals we set have to do with profession, a lot of our energy goes into what profession, how can I be successful, and what if I fail, and when you think of your life and you put it in a really tiny box, which is called professional success, then you will really, the chances of missing out on leading a purposeful life, your purpose, is the likelihood is quite high.
So what is the distinguishing factor between goal and purpose?
Goal, as we say, is an objective. The purpose is, why do I set it?
Okay.
What do I want to cover? Because if you think of achievements, if you think of the word achievement, what do you try to achieve through
Something
a
that I
job?
don't already have.
Yeah, you want to obtain something.
Yeah.
You want to achieve. You want to achieve success. You want to achieve. We never talk in terms of our need. We don't talk about our needs in terms of achievements.
It's more material, you mean? We talk about material
Achievement is, a need is something that's completely within you, and it's extremely personal. Extremely personal. That's why it's very important that each one of us understands their personal needs. It's how you experience, how we experience reality, and what we get out of it. That's very personal. That's why purpose is very personal. That's why we have to figure it out. You know what's also what I like about this philosophy? It is so open.
Okay.
There's no finishing line.
Because there's no final destination. It's just constantly going.
Because the final destination is always in the present.
That's not the starting?
It's the start, and it's the beginning and the end. Meaning that if you think of your purpose in the future, it's something that is about to come, but you cannot foresee, you cannot predefine. As I said before, you don't have the script. You fulfill your purpose by what you do, by being present, by being here, by doing what we are doing now. We are doing a podcast, so we are fulfilling a specific reason. I mean, a specific purpose. Sorry, it's in the present. It's now your purpose and how you fulfill it. Of course, you always look back in terms, however, not being reminiscent or regretful. It's what you have learned. You understand, you process, and you move forward, and you move forward, and you move forward. And there's nothing predefined, there's nothing prescribed, and there's always of discovering. I mean, what is this? Discover yourself. How do you discover yourself if you have the script already given to you and everything is predefined? How do you discover yourself? You discover yourself in the process of being present, understanding, moving forward, unfolding.
Well, that's why in my mind, the final destination is not today, because that's very static. It would be something more continuous. If not a starting point, because the start also has an element of stagnation. It's like a zero and then motion. It's the in motion that every day is a in motion.
How do you... Actually, it's a process.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's always a process.
Yeah.
And in the process, if you were to, to zoom in the process, so you zoom in into segments of the process, but it's an open process. That's what I mean, that there's no finishing line.
Yeah.
It's a process, it's open, and the better we understand what we do in the present and why we do whatever we do, the purpose behind our actions and our choices, the likelihood of making a better choice tomorrow is higher. And that's how you move. You move forward. Is something else that...
I would like to believe that I've understood this more Aristotelian approach to purpose. But I do have a question that's more lighthearted. I think it would be nice for people to know. What is the purpose? What is your purpose behind Sophia's Best? And what need does it cover, at least for you personally?
So basically, you're asking my purpose behind Sophia's Best?
At least today, this afternoon.
Yeah. What I am trying to do, little by little, and really moment by moment, is try to show people a different perspective, how to adopt a different perspective, shift the way they think, challenge their assumptions, challenge the things that they hold as truths, develop their own way, and get the satisfaction from the benefits that they gain. Because having an open mind, because Aristotle is about having an open mind, the first thing you do is you challenge, think, shift your perspective, examine, explore, ask questions, a lot of questions. I'd love to teach people to ask the correct questions, because if you ask, for example, the correct questions, the answers just come about. They should not be looking for answers. They should be trying to understand how to make the correct questions.
Well, what need does this answer?
Need for me? Well, all this starts from my need to understand human nature.
Okay. Okay.
And because we rarely talk about what it means to be human. And I think I treat humans as an endangered species sometimes, the way we talk about us as people, our needs, our objectives, our achievements, and the hero, and this and that and the other. And through this, I really want to put at the center of attention our human qualities, because they are not only, I don't want to use the word, they're so powerful. It's every single one of us has such great strength to do things, to overcome obstacles and challenges, as long as we improve the way we think. So that's why the Sophia's Best signature, if you like, is better your way of thinking to better your way of living. And not only, you better things when you think better. That's what the Aristotelian philosophy is all about. I think I said a lot of stuff, but but that's what it is.
Lovely.
I remember. I know that.
Go on.
Should I
Sure.
make a mention or
Sure.
not make a mention? because we were talking about it at some other time, and you were saying something about hero, being the hero, something you mentioned when
Yes,
you think of
that
purpose.
every film and every story starts with a heroine or hero finding their purpose and then successfully fulfilling it by the end, very neatly. Like, I
Yeah.
discovered this is my purpose, and then I accomplished my purpose, and the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the superhuman heroes
Yeah.
that we see in the movies, especially the recent movies. But you are the hero of your story,
Mm.
right? Because it's your purpose, it's your story. And whether you like it or not, you are the protagonist.
Yeah.
Because it's your story. So you are the protagonist. So whatever you do comes back to you, irrespective of the assumptions you make. And again, purpose is defined as we defined it before.
Mm. Yeah. And also, our plot isn't limited to a 2 hour duration. So we don't have to just super quickly find our thing, do our thing.
Exactly. It's not scripted.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, it's not scripted. And we wouldn't want to have it scripted,
Nope.
I think. Right?
Okay.
Okay. I think that's a positive note. I hope you find that positive.
Yeah.
I hope you're not looking for a script.
Yeah. Have a purposeful day.
Have a
Bye-bye.
person. Bye bye.